I'm going to go into my breakdown of WrestleMania 36. Keep in mind, I'm going to only critique the matches that I felt need critiquing, and that's basically it. I'm not going to really go into any negative aspects like I didn't like a match or something like that. I'm just going to go by matches that I felt needed critiquing. Overall, I thought it was a really good card. So let's just jump into it. I thought the WrestleMania trailer stunk. They should have spent the money and got Johnny Depp. Bottom line. If you're going to do some corny Jack Sparrow, get the real Jack Sparrow. Spend the money, get him. Especially, with everything that's going on, to kick the show off with a trailer that starts off intense and then you pause it and the person comes in and says some things that's not really funny and it just kind of slowed the tempo of the trailer. And anyone that knows that you need, since the Attitude Era, you need a dope pay-per-view trailer to really kick off your show. And they kind of farted on their trailer. The Kabuki Warriors versus Bliss Cross Applesauce. I thought it was a pretty cool match. Great opening to the show. I wish that, based on hearsay, what I'm hearing, that there wasn't allegedly contract disputes with Kairi Sane, because I would have loved to have seen her a little bit more, especially throughout this crisis when I strongly felt that Asuka was holding up the company on her back. I also wished that the company had put a little bit more, or had given her a little bit more attention. Despite the pandemic that we went through, I still did not even see anything leading up to. I thought it would have been a great idea, but I don't know what they had in mind. I just thought, because everyone was anticipating when they announced Tampa Bay, and they showed you the pirate logos and the ships and all that stuff, and Kairi Sane came to mind. And we're talking about a year ago. I thought it would have been cool if they had actually gotten a ship, had Kairi come afloat on the ship at a dock, film that, and you show her arrive. I just thought that would have been something cool. But even in the promos, there was really no emphasis at all with her. I think in the opening of it, they showed a glimpse of her. I just thought it would have been awesome to see her at the top of the ship with her telescope. But, another missed opportunity from WWE, and we will move on. But with that stated, the match, I thoroughly enjoyed this as an opening match. The only thing that I took issue with was the ending of the match. Now, for those that have listened to me, I've stated before, we're dealing with theatrics, right, of a predetermined sport, which we already know, or entertainment. Some people, it's not a sport. Okay, whatever. So it's like watching a martial arts film. I like to feel like, even if you're doing high flying, you're doing flips, you're doing whatever, I like for the build-up to make sense so that I can believe in the actions that the characters are doing. Okay, so there's a part toward the end of the match where Asuka pins Nikki. Bliss goes to the top of the rope, does Twisted Bliss, lands on top of Asuka's back, and she's apparently injured. She rolls out of the ring. Then Kairi comes in, tangles up with Nikki. Nikki then does the neck breaker, and then Twisted Bliss for the pin. It was less than 2 minutes probably before that came in. Now, for someone that's supposed to be playing hurt from the first time she did the Twisted Bliss and landed on someone's, either she might have even landed on her head, but landed on Asuka's head or back. But either way, she seemed like she was injured. To then a minute or so later to roll back, okay, 2 minutes or so later, roll out, get back to the top, hop back on the Twisted Bliss, and to be able to pull that off didn't work for me as far as that part of the story aspect of it. Now, what also struck me was that I've watched, I probably say 3 matches, 2 to 3 matches with Nikki wrestling Mandy Rose and using that neck breaker and getting the pin. Mandy Rose weighs more than Kairi Sane. I don't see how or why she just wouldn't just be able to close the match out and get the pin. Why you needed to see the Twisted Bliss again. That was the only problem I had with the whole thing, because she should have been able to get that pin. Side note, I don't know what's going to happen with Kairi. I hope she stays, but if she goes, I completely understand, because I had a chance to watch her matches in Stardom, especially with Io Shirai, and they ripped it down. And this is before NXT, so this is like, a few weeks ago for me. She is really, really tough. She's really tough. So it seems as if, within the Kabuki Warriors, they always play, every tag team, it seems like they have a weaker character. Asuka being the more dominant one. Different federation, I guess I understand it is what it is. I heard some people saying that they felt as if Kairi had kind of phoned it in. I didn't think so. I don't think that she phoned it in at all. I think that she did what she had to do, which was put together a good match. I think that sometimes people read in too much with rumors, and then they start putting their own spin on it, according to how they feel the narrative is going to play, which is basically if she's leaving, if she's not resigning, she didn't give 100%, and it's, because she's not resigning. I didn't feel that at all. I hope she does stay. I hope we get to see her in singles capacity a little bit more. What about a possible feud with Liv Morgan? Overall, like I said, I enjoyed that match. I just didn't like the ending. We move on. Okay, I'm rewatching it. I just caught this, right? When Bliss finally gets back to the top of, before she's tagged in, she's acting as if like she's really hurt. You see what I'm saying? So for them to finish it with the Twisted Bliss. Okay, anyway. All right. Oh my God. And she twisted blissed her legs. Kairi Sane's the bottom of her legs. She didn't even do the Twisted Bliss like on her stomach, on her chest. She landed on the bottom of her legs, which pretty much shows she's probably was winded. Wah, wah, wah. The Corbin Elias match, I feel it's unfortunate they keep having Corbin do jobs, even though he's already over. It would have been cool to have him win, but I feel like if they had started this feud just 2 weeks prior to when they actually began it and had Corbin get in at least one win, it would have been better. But it just seemed like, look, at the end of the day, I can only hope that this feud is going to continue, because if it just stops right here, then we don't get to see Elias wrestle a lot. So I'll keep this very blunt. The Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler match, it was very blah to me. It's very blah to me. I've stated already in the past that I don't know, I like the old Becky. The new Becky is, the whole man character. She's too in character a majority of the time. And I don't know, to me, it just makes me pay more attention to her in-ring action. And I'm just not really all that enthused, which is why I felt like, Asuka should have won and given the belt to Asuka. But, go in my archives and I go into depth with why I stated that. I'll probably put a link in there. That was what, Royal Rumble, right? Yeah, Royal Rumble. Shayna, Vince, in my opinion, screwed her up with the Elimination Chamber with what I believe is overexposure by giving her that win, and thus really effed up, minus Asuka, all the other talent that was in that match, because it was built up. Oh, I can't wait to fight Stone Cold. I can't wait to see The Rock. And then all of a sudden I get buried in 3 seconds. We need a title change. And I'm not saying this should be to Basler. I don't know. We need something. The man shit's just not working for me. So it did in the beginning, and then it kind of like pewtered out. I'll move on. But I also want to add, I don't understand why Becky keeps fucking mentioning Ronda Rousey. Because she didn't come back. And that statement is only based off of, as it got closer, someone said that, she might be coming back. But prior to that, it was always sticking in my craw like, why she keeps talking about Ronda Rousey? If you face Asuka, she mentions Ronda Rousey. She faces Sasha, she mentions Ronda Rousey. She faces Natalya, she mentions Ronda Rousey. This shit is like, now we're at the point where it's a year ago. You still talking about goddamn Ronda Rousey. Like, you don't have anyone else to talk about? Talk about Charlotte Flair. She's around. Okay, this time I will officially move on. The IC title, Samy Zayn versus Daniel Bryan was okay. I just thought it had a shitty finish. I kind of skimmed through it the first time, so looking at it now, Daniel Bryan's fucking tough guy. So for him just to get kicked in the face, and that's just the end of it. And it's the first time I'm actually noticing that they've changed the IC belt. It looks, different than what I recall. Just that maybe I haven't been paying attention to it, but yeah, it seemed like WrestleMania filler, because they also didn't even do a replay for the end of the match. Just a stupid observation, and once again, as I stated before, I feel like Drew Gulak, remember the opening of that gimmick, I have an 89,000 page presentation, right? But you never hear them reference this presentation. Like I said, hey, he should be throwing out numbers. And the numbers, they mean move sets. Hey, 42.85 now. And it would just deepen that bond, so that when you're like, okay, why is the dude saying these numbers? Then Michael Cole could let the viewers know. Well, they say they have a, special, move set that they do. So when you hear him doing these numbers, so it makes sense. He's just, like a cheerleader now. So I got all these different things that you could do with your, with your in-ring ability. It just means that much more. Next match. Ladder match. Jimmy Uso, Kofi, and Morrison, who I just realized, or I just found that they call him Jomo. So, ladder match, from what I can recall, was pretty cool, but I'm going to rewatch it again so I can do a deeper dive. One question is, why Jimmy and not Jay for this match? Just a thought. Another observation. John Morrison's music. John Morrison, a.k.a. rock singer Morrison, right? doors, whole 9 yards. Why does his music sound like Jimi Hendrix? Even with the graphics. Just another observation. Another observation. Would it have been, well, then again, I guess, because they would be under regulation. What I was going to suggest is we know that The Miz is out because he was under the weather. And if they're fighting for tag gold, but this is a singles match per se, right? It wouldn't have hurt to have Jay and Big E at ringside. Because, I mean, look, what am I going to do? Oh, it should be a tag match. It is what it is. We already know it is what it is. If you can have Shinsuke and what's-her-face out there for support, why can't you have the other two guys, the tag partners, out there for support? You could have even put Miz on the screen, in the WrestleMania on the screen there, you know, encouraging him, screaming, come on, let's go, let's do it, let's go, let's do it, and then cutting up. Would have been interesting. And then he could have been like, you two guys shut up, talking to Jay and Big E. And then they could have turned their reference to the screen, meanwhile, while these guys are wrestling in their match, adding another layer of some comedy to it. And this just hit me, knowing that Morrison does win this match. If you had Miz on the screen, when Morrison got to the top of the stage, they could have did their little song, just the hook. I'm just saying. I like the fact that I said this when I saw it the first time, that Morrison uses the poke in the eye. That is the most underutilized fucking move in this sport, in this business, rather. Because, Ric Flair was classic at using it, and Charlotte doesn't even use it. If there's one move that she should be using, it's that move. It is a very realistic move in terms of storytelling. Because if anyone, a majority of the people know what it feels like to have something just fly into your eye. It's very disorienting. So I think that using that move to make certain transitions, even if it's for finishing moves or to reverse something, especially when you have someone on the top rope, it's just very efficient as far as I'm concerned and very believable. Rather than, my pet peeves is whipping someone like what Dana Brooke does. Pet peeve. She'll hit somebody, then fling them into the corner, and then do the 7 feet distance just so that she can do a cartwheel, backflip, and hit you with the elbow, knowing damn well that 9 times out of 10, that's the setup for a clothesline. Love the flip off the top from Morrison onto Jimmy Uso on the ladder. That was hot. Or I have Sasha's on the top rope, and then Charlotte has to climb all the way up to the top rope to do the suplex, but Sasha's just laying there limp. There's never like a follow-up. There's never a poke in the eye, disorienting. Oh, someone poked me in the eye. And then she can hit her again and then set her up for the suplex off the top rope or, whatever it is they're going to do. I have no idea what Jimmy was trying to do when he was trying to balance himself to go at Kofi. I don't understand why he was on the side, but his ass got clocked by Kingston. Okay, now I see what Matt Morgan was saying about the move that Morrison did when he walked the rope and flipped off Kofi. I remember seeing it, but hearing him mentioning it, and the fact that there's no audience, the pop, the sound of the crowd would have been crazy. But I myself just gave it a ooh, so I can imagine that, the millions of people watching were doing the same thing. So you just have to use your imagination. Side note, why is there a goddamn ceiling fan that's on? I know it's been there, but just the fact that it's on is kind of distracting to me for some reason. And sometimes when they're doing the wide shot, it almost looks like that it could actually like cut somebody's head off or something. But I see that there's a distance. Just another silly ass observation. Eat that! Eat that, Goofy! Flatten your face like a pancake, boy! Slick fluke ending to this match. I actually thought at one point upon first watching it that one person from one team was going to get one belt and one from another. And then I thought it would have been an interesting concept to have them become the tag champions. But maybe they can do that down the line. So let's say if it was Kofi and Uso, they would just have to, become tag champions. Like someone would come out during the match and saying, well, since you caught one and you caught one, now you're, just something that would just be different. We know that they lack difference in this company and even within the industry sometimes. So, overall, cool. I like, they put it all out there for this match. They put it all out there. Next! Braun Strowman Goldberg match is really not a lot for me to say because we know about the situation. So I'm not going to really spend a lot of time into that. As I've stated before, Goldberg is like a 2-minute guy. Take that how you want it. So we're just going to move on. Okay. The highlight of the first night, AJ Styles versus Undertaker in a movie. Boneyard match. What I dug about this is pretty much what everyone else dug about this, but let's keep in mind, I'm coming from a filmmaker's perspective. From the jump, I like the fact that they added those titles. AJ had his titles. Taker had his titles. Talking about film titles, on-screen titles for those. I'm not talking about belts. Okay? Ooh, you're not supposed to say belts. Ooh, okay. Film credits. Dug that. Dug their entrances. Dug the motorcycle. What I want to add is they did the typical low-rent, first-grade filmmaking cliche, which is we know Undertaker is in this match. We know that he is the person that's on the motorcycle. Why do you insist on starting from his feet and panning up as if he's going to be a whole other person? We know who it is already. I hate when they do that in movies, and they're doing it here. Anyhow, I initially thought, like some other people thought when he said the Trinity, that maybe there'd be a Kane appearance. I didn't know who the third person was. But looking at this is my third time looking at this. The scene where the other two knuckleheads pop up from the OC, right? The first time. And then the Druids pop up. I thought it would have been really cool. This would have I think that if they had done this concept that I'm about to drop, it might have given the Firefly Funhouse a little bit of a run for the money. A little bit. The Druids appear and they do either a steady cam or a handheld shot where they circle Taker. And when they do it the first time, they show you the actual barn, right? It would have been awesome. I think this would have really, like I said, given the Firefly thing a run for the money. Is when they did that shot and they showed the barn. at the top of the barn, you just would have heard somebody go, ooh, ooh, and it would have been Sting at the fucking roof, cape on, bat, whole 9 yards. That would, oh my God, I think everyone at home would have lost their minds. Would have lost their minds. And then do something like a Jeff Hardy type of situation where he just, because remember, he's like the Crow mythological character where he just, not Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, where he would just reappear and they would be back to back fighting the Druids. And then Sting would take the fight inside of the house while Taker would be fighting the cats from the OC, right? And as the match would continue on with Taker and AJ, you could faintly hear the conflict that's going on in that house with Sting whipping the rest of the Druids' asses. And then you could even cut back just in the background, soft focus while Taker's still beating up AJ. You'd see some action, silhouette. Sting still beating 2 dudes down. Bow, bow. That shit right there, next level shit that they wouldn't think of. But people would have gone nuts for it. Nuts. And then when you compare this with the Firefly Funhouse, because nobody knew what to expect from the Bray Cena match until we saw it. So I don't think that I'm alone. We were like, oh boy, I don't know how they're going to top this. And then they got topped. And I think with the addition of Sting appearing, and then at the end of this, when he buried AJ and then you see them stand together, him standing next to Sting, like Sting would just walk out and they just look at one another and do like that Bad Boy shot from the movie Bad Boys. If you're going to do, you would do another Steadicam shot going around them, it's like all clear. Sting breaks out. You just see him just dissolve and disappear. Taker hops back on the bike. Music kicks. He drives off. I'm telling you, everybody would be teetering. I do believe you would have seen polls everywhere. Like, all right, which match did it? The appearance, you know what? The Firefly thing was dope. I didn't think it could top it. But then again, I don't know. That appearance with Sting being there when people thought it would have been Kane and it was Sting and everybody's buzzing about a Sting Taker match. Please believe, I really do think people would have lost their shit on that. Or, to flip it even harder, Sting has a motorcycle and Taker has a motorcycle. And they both ride off on their motorcycles, and then you do that. This would have been next level shit. They both ride off on their motorcycles, and then you do that Fast and Furious. What was it, the fifth or sixth one with Paul Walker pass, and you see them do the fork in the road. One motorcycle goes one way, one motorcycle goes the other way. Woo! That would have been tough. But didn't do it. Didn't create it. Let's move on to night 2. I like this match a lot. I watched it twice, my third time. I dug it. One for the ages. Okay, now we're into night 2. Now, maybe I'm not as anal as a lot of people are, or petty, or whatever. I really enjoyed the Natalya versus Liv match for probably different reasons than most. It reminded me of a match that you wouldn't see behind closed doors, like if they were working on, hey, let's get some reps in, let's go down to the PC or whatever, and let's just have a match, let's get our reps in. And it just seemed the way they were talking with one another. I know from watching that Total Divas show that they have a really great relationship. I know that Natalya has assisted a majority of the females that we see on SmackDown and Raw. So that is understood as far as I'm concerned. So it was, a very cute match. Although I was anticipating Sarah and Ruby, and I don't know why they didn't do that. But outside of the fact that Duke is squashing them, but it would have been cool to have them do run-ins. There's no winner in that match. Do run-ins, then setting up either for the next night on Raw or whatever tag match. But it is what it is. We have to watch Liv defeat Natalya and then get squashed the next night by Asuka. Let's move on. Okay, this friggin' match, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. In my opinion, they ripped the freaking roof off of this. This was to me, a very old school match that I don't get to see very often as far as I'm concerned, where you have one talent working a body part. And I heard some people annoyed by that. It is what it is, but when I saw what she was doing to Rhea Ripley, I pretty much had a feeling that she was going to win. And on the flip side, Rhea Ripley sold the hell out of that injury, especially that one kick that Charlotte did when she kicked her in the back of the leg, and Rhea just screamed in pain. She hit the ropes. It looked so goddamn real to me. I really thought she hit her and she was injured during that match. So let's delve into this a little bit deeper, as I've given my precursor. Okay, so let's keep in mind, for anyone that's been listening to my content, that the Royal Rumble, I believe it might have been the pre-Royal Rumble, I had mentioned that I wanted to see this match, and I said that this is what I believe that they should do, and that Charlotte should go to NXT and stay there for a little while. And it reverberated with me even more after she told Corey Graves that, they weren't really doing anything with her creatively. So I will also go on the record and state that I would not be surprised very soon if all three brands are going to be a collective, like how you have Raw and SmackDown. It's going to be Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So you could see McIntyre on NXT. You could see Brock. Why not have Matt Riddle cut some promo, and then you hear wah 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 wah, don't. He comes in, squashes him, stands over him, takes the mic, and go wish your wish is fulfilled, or whatever, because he kept calling him out. Squash him, dump him, break out. House will go crazy. Would they ever do it? If someone over there has listened to this, they probably will. We'll find out in time. But yeah. And I also called the John Cena thing. But at that time, they were going in a funny direction. I said, I thought that it was going to be Cena and The Fiend. And I explained why. But I'm going to make you go back and go listen to it. I can't do everything for you. Got to do some work. So, watching Flair, she just crawled out the ring. I love how they were talking smack, more so Charlotte. Side note, I think that Rhea Ripley and Lacey Evans have two of the best looking backs in this female division WWE. Like, they really put time. I've seen Lacey bust those pull-ups like it was light work. I don't know, what is it about this match that reminds me of the matches, the empty arena matches that I watched a few weeks ago in Japan on Stardom. It's something about the aggressiveness that they are putting in on this match, in my opinion. In my opinion. I should have known, or we should have known, when she did the Riptide and Charlotte kicked out of it, that she was going to be doomed. I mean, as I transition, sorry, there are people that say, well, Charlotte didn't need to win the belt, but I felt that in order to make the transition to NXT, this is what needs to be done. And as I'm speaking, the comment that I made about all three shows, maybe it's the master plan to have your three more popular, well, four actually, if you include Sasha. So you have Bayley holding down SmackDown, Becky, Raw, Charlotte, NXT. Just to solidify that NXT brand for the crossovers that I'm predicting. What's funny is I believe that is Rhea's jacket that's on the floor still. I'm surprised it wasn't picked up, but I'm surprised that she didn't use it, or Charlotte didn't use it as an obstacle / AKA weapon, or however, whatever. I don't understand why she decided to use the body scissors in this match. It's not really a submission hold. I didn't understand that. Also, to add to the statement that I made earlier about Charlotte having the belt and people saying that she didn't need the title, I mean, at the end of the day, Ripley could end up winning it back in 2-3 more weeks. It is what it is. I mean, I don't see it, but I don't know. Sometimes people take this a little too seriously. It's predetermined, man. Like, at the snap of a finger, Natalya could end up getting this belt. Who knows? Do I agree with everything that's done, that's predetermined creatively? Hell no. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm not saying that anyone else is, but banging on the knee, there we go. And banging on the knee again. I can see now, looking at this again, when Rhea was screaming a little bit too loud. I get it. When I was hearing that statement being made, I could see that. A little too dramatic on the yells. Although she did sell the injury. When she pulled Ripley's leg out and banged it on the turn post, I really thought she was going to put in a figure four while outside of the ring, with her leg wrapped around the post. There's that move right there. That's what she sold it. When she hit that knee and she went down, she sold the shit out of that. 'Cause the way that the knee buckled and fell forward, it just almost gives you the concept that it like kind of broke almost to me. When I look at it again, it feels the same way. Bro, when she smacked her hand away and was like, get your hand, control, domination. Anyone else think that the ref of this match looked a little bit like Too Cold Scorpio? That was just me. There's also a spot in this match where Charlotte is working her knee and Rhea just like smacks her shoulder like, you bitch, how dare you hit my knee again? Stop hitting my knee. She's just laughing at her, man. Charlotte puts on a dominant effort during this match, taunting her, boasting, laughing at her. You know, just the different elements of her character, in my opinion. What's funny, I mean, this has nothing to do with the match, has to do with an earlier app that I post up with the virtual audience. Go check that out. I'm looking at all of this video real estate that they could have used, especially with the big WrestleMania sign that's behind the announcers. It could have been nothing but virtual screens on that, with the stage that they come out on. Nothing but just fans just watching. Nothing in those little side panels. I'm seeing it more and more now. You know, even as crazy as I am, I would have even tested having something on that with the ramp where you see the WrestleMania and the two swords. You know, because keep in mind, the viewer is still looking at the match, which is the fact that you get to see these different faces. Then even see the faces on the side panels where you see the WrestleManias, you know, on the side panels, yeah. I wondered through this match if it would have been slightly interesting or more interesting win had she not used the figure 4/figure 8 to get the tap, if she had just pinned her. But the lead-in of her wearing down the leg, making us think that that's how she's going to get the victory, you know, being a false narrative. Maybe she could have, you know, got her in a small package and use Rhea's injury to kind of keep her locked in, rather than, you know, the typical figure 8. This one moment where she puts Charlotte on the top of the ring post, Rhea just clocks her right in the face. It's hilarious. It's just straight, just right hand, jaw, kapaya. And for those that may be a bit confused with this breakdown, I'm actually rewatching this match and giving my penny cents of common sense of an opinion. Ooh. Charlotte Speeder just reminded me that, going back to the Kabuki, the very first match, Kabuki Warriors match, it just dawned on me that Alexa Bliss did that first twisted off the top and then got speared by Kyrie. You know what I mean? And it was injured. So it just makes more sense for Nikki to get that neck breaker. All right, I'll leave it alone. And for the life of me, I don't understand what the power of force on the knee between the differences of the figure 4 and the figure 8. It looks like the same move. It looks like the same pressure is applied. Okie dokie. And I also thought that when Rhea tapped, it would have been a good story twist, even in the post promo, to have Rhea say that she wasn't tapping. She was trying to get the lock off the leg, because that's what it looked like to me. And I was like, okay, yeah, she is tapping rather than tapping on the ground, but she's tapping on Charlotte's leg. But, who am I? Just a dumb guy with ideas, I guess. Wait, Urkel is in the Big Show's Netflix show? Interesting. The Aliester Blac Lashley match. The only thing I could say is that the ending with Lana did not have to get on top of the apron to call that out. That was silly. She could have easily called that up. Called for him to do that move while she was on the ground outside the ring. It still would have had the same effect. He still was going to blow it. She still was going to look pissed. It was just a waste. The match, it seems like a last-minute match. There was no heat here. There was no pre-build-up like, hey, I'll meet you in the ring. It was just, yeah, I want to see this. Squash Lashley again. All 500 pounds of muscle of him. But good shit. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at this pre-promo with Bayley and Sasha. I don't know what it is about Kayla Braxton. But every time I look at her, she looks like she has weed smoking lips. Sorry for being an asshole, but I don't even know. And I don't even smoke, but she looks like she got weed smoking lips. I'm sorry. Okay, they're showing the Money in the Bank trailer right now, right? I wish that they wouldn't they've been doing it. I wish that they would not do a Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Allegedly, it's supposed to be canceled, because from what I saw, they're not going to have any. Well, then again, it might be an empty arena match. Who knows? But the next live event with the audience may not be until August, from what their schedule is. But I wish they wouldn't do Money in the Bank. I wish they wouldn't do any more Elimination Chambers, because they kind of overdid them. I wish they wouldn't do any more TLC matches. They don't even do them every other year. He does it to death. When you think of the Money in the Bank, it's going to happen. The person with the attaché case, they wait till when the champion is down, and then they run out and then they cash it in. At least that's what I've seen in the past, 2-3 years since I've started watching wrestling again. Anybody, please correct me if I'm wrong. Just let me know. It's the same gimmick. It's dude, put it to bed. Do whatever happened to what was the one that used to happen after WrestleMania? Was it Backlash? I think it was. Something else. Chamber. How many after I think the first Chamber, they should have really put that on ice for a while. The women's chamber for the tag was tough. This year's chambers was, it's, whatever. I mean, Mac is going to do what Mac is going to do. But that's my wick check for the day. Okay, the Otis versus Dolph match. Go check out my Sonya and Mandy report last episode. I spoke on that, so I'm going to skid right past that. I'm glad that it had a very cute ending. And for anyone's listening, they did Mandy and Otis. I was actually thinking about doing a quick ep on this. Did a Insta Live for about 30 minutes talking with the various fans. And dude, he's too much, man. I can't say enough about him. He's too much. He is too much. And he was big timing with his sunglasses on. He's a big time star. He's touching his sunglasses. He's too fucking much, man. Too much. Okay, let's move on. Wouldn't it be crazy if Otis ends up becoming the face of SmackDown brand? The one that single-handedly saves the WWE? Hilarious. It would be too much. I can dream. But you know what? Actually, as they're walking out, I don't even get why Sonya is walking out with Dolph with no backstage promo or whatever. I just felt like that would have been necessary. They did, I think Kayla came up. They dismissed her. I don't know, man. It's the storyline, the way they put this whole thing together. It was just crazy. But, they just walked out together. Maybe he's expecting Mandy and Sonya to go and whatever. Go back and go listen to the episode, man. Okay, enough said. What can I say about the Edge Randy Orton match other than it did go a little bit too long? It would have been a little bit better for me if I didn't see Gargano and Ciampa run through the Performance Center about 3 weeks ago before this match. I did like the ending of it, the way that Edge seemed to be hurt and shedding tears, knowing that he had to end this. So I did kind of think that Randy was going to win, but I wish they had maybe a few more props, even if they had to construct them when they went into the back and started messing around. I mean, this was recorded, so to have a foam pipe that was, painted shiny to look like, a real pipe, and then you throw in these, these sound effects. But, basically it wasn't horrible. It was what it was moment. It wasn't the match that everyone thought it was going to be, but it wasn't the worst match. And I don't know if having a full crowd would have made any difference, because I don't know if they were going to run around. Well, I mean, they were going to go inside the crowd. You knew that was going to happen. They were probably going to end up at some concession stands, but would they be in the background? Probably. But I don't know, something about the fact that it was quiet just made it feel a little bit more special, although it wasn't the best match of the world, or in the world, best match in the world. I wouldn't put it as match of the year. I wouldn't even put it in the category. But once again, it wasn't the worst match, so it just was what it was. The Red Cup boys against the other two cats. That was a filler match. Andrade was injured, so I knew that there wasn't really going to be a title changing hands. Especially because Zelina is supposed to be the manager to both parties, and dude just slid in, but you know, good for him because he also ended up on Raw, I believe, and hopefully he might have, got his way on the main roster, So Ricochet Part 4, I guess. We'll see. And I just got to say, Austin Theory looks like he would be like a villain in like a Fast and Furious film. And the run-in Bianca Belair, that was the most surprising. Even when I had thoughts the week prior that maybe she'd do a run-in on the Charlotte Rhea match. So that was cool. And now to know that she is officially, I guess, on this roster. But, like I said, I do believe that all three are going to officially become intertwined within the next few weeks, or maybe they'll wait until they're playing live again. I don't know, but it's coming soon, in my opinion. What I'm calling now the five-way dance: Boss, Bayley, Tamina, Naomi, and Evans. I thought it was a good mix. I like the little, well, I can't say little, I like the Team Bad Unity. I've been itching to see them unite, and I would love to see Bianca Belair become a part of that team, but I doubt that that'll happen anytime soon. And with it seeming like Sasha's eventually going to go face, I could see Team Bad. And with What's-Her-Face over on Raw now, I can see Team Bad popping off even more. And that will probably, be wise for Bayley to start creating her own little squad. So now it's all about, I'm sure, maybe if this happens, she'd probably get Carmella and then one more piece. And I don't know who that would be. If that's going to be someone from NXT coming in. I don't see Lacey Evans going heel again anytime soon, but I don't see Dana Brooke going heel at any point either. But like I said, never mind. I'm not going to even make that statement. I'll leave that alone. The win over Tamina, the pin over Tamina, was a repeat performance of the Elimination Chamber. One day Tamina will get her run. One day. Maybe her contract might be up. This could be why. Or maybe if her contract isn't up, but I know that, they're signing people earlier than later because they don't want them to go to that other company that we're not allowed to talk about while we watch this company. So, if a contract is coming up, they act a little sweet on the talent when it's time to re-up the contract. So, maybe we'll see what we'll see. I wonder if Naomi had something big planned for Mania and then had to, go a little gentler because empty arena match. So, because, since her return, we've seen her go hard with the costumes. So I'm sure she'll save it for another time. Maybe I'm the only person that sees the goodness in Bayley being heel. I don't know, and I like when she comes out in these little outfits, like the little top. It's better than the shit that she was coming out with when she was face, man. The ponytail and the t-shirt and all that, and the Macho Man stuff on the side. I'd rather just keep her heel, dude. I don't want to see the ponytail. I don't want to see the balloons. No. I'm enjoying what she's doing, and I enjoyed what she did at the end, going deep, that ego, schmiegel. I'm buying it. So I would have bought into it even more if Sasha wasn't in this match, if they weren't trying to. They just needed a longer run. That's just me, I guess. I'm sure if they were on that other station, they'd probably have a better run. They have a way better run because they have a really shit female division over there. So I think Impact has. Ooh, I said it. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that. They don't have the best division either. They shit on a lot of their women that you'll see there. You know, they job. You see somebody new, job. I just gotta let it go. Looks like another wrestling TKO. Here's a creative fart that they constantly do as well. So you have Naomi and you have Lacey, and then you have Bayley and Sasha, and then they're like whispering to one another, and then they run to the individuals separately. It's like you're whispering to do something that we're pretty much expecting you to do. Why can't you whisper? Act as if you're going to go to, let's say you act like you're going to go to them individually and then they both swerve and then jump on one person. It just looks kind of silly. Just we're whispering. And then now, and you're just going to end up jumping on it. They're both standing there waiting for you to attack them. How about if you whisper, and then you just both run out the ring and wait for the count out just to play mind games with them, and then you jump on Tamina, who's already outside the ring, and then you let Lacey and Naomi fight it out, and then you go back in the ring after they're all gassed out. How about that? Okay, what I'm observing, right, what I don't get is this is another faux pas. Tamina, who's the biggest person here, why do they have her stepping on the opponent's chest to pin them? That is not the most weight on your opponent. You know what I'm saying? So of course we know if it's body to body pin, you have a heavier person on a lighter person. If she's just using her foot as if her foot is supposed to be expressive of all whatever pounds that she's supposed to weigh, it doesn't make any sense. So when she's working on one person, putting her foot up and they popping out, walking to another person, putting their foot on, it's kind of silly. I couldn't pinpoint what it was about Naomi, and I'm just seeing it right now. Like, it always seems when she's wrestling, I always get the feeling like she's trying to do like a dance move, like she's trying to do a pirouette, or like do a leg kick. Anytime she's doing a wrestling move, it's different from everyone else. Just an observation for you all to maybe watch next time you see her. Another observation. This was a stupid edit. When the three young ladies get together to do the unity, why are you on a close-up of Naomi when they do unity? That should have been that wide shot that they actually ended up going to, but it was a little late. As soon as they did the unity, it should have went wide. One of the many major faux pas of the control room, the editor, whatever, they fudge up a lot with the camera angles and going from shot to shot. And sometimes when they do that, I find that when they're doing storytelling, it messes up the storytelling because they'll cut away from something way too fast that someone was doing in character. That stunner by Naomi on Tamina was excellent. I like how they all splashed on Tamina and she rolled perfectly in place for Lacey and then rolled perfectly in place for Naomi. And then they got the pin. The execution of that was nice. Sometimes it looks a little corny when you see the person moving in place. And I think she executed it perfectly. Oh my God, man. When Bayley said, yeah, you better run. Yeah, you better run your little dance machine. To Naomi, holy shit. You evaluating this again. Naomi really got her shit in, man. That double sunset flip. The stunner on Tamina. Let's go. Stunner on Bayley. That backbreaker into the bank statement on Naomi was tight. Yo, she told her to go dance in the back. Yeah, out of control, man. Yo, she threw Lacey Evans' arm off and said, "Don't freaking touch me." God, like, I think she slept on as a heel, man. Call me nutso. I did the whole profile. Check it out. But I think Bayley is slept on as a heel. Okay, so now Bayley runs into Sasha, right? Check this breakdown. Let's hold off. I'm going to hold off on it. Something I caught this time around. Okay, so Sasha Banks gets knocked out. But prior to that, they started beefing, right? Sasha's like, "I've always had your back." And that, I don't think, is the truth. Okay, because we know that they've had these beefs before. But what I noticed is that Bayley looked out for Sasha 3 times in this match. Sasha looked out for Bayley 1 time. Tamina almost knocked the crap out of Sasha. Bayley pushed her out the way. Naomi almost had Sasha submit. Bayley knocked the crap out of Naomi in the back of the head, breaking the hold. Bayley hits Sasha after Lacey moves, accident. But then Bayley pushes Sasha out of the way as Lacey's about to clock her, and then just so happens that Lacey just happened to just do a Yui and was able to still clock her again. But that was still 3 saves to Sasha's 1 save at the end of this match. And people will shit on that and be like, "Oh, she should be facing here, and they should." Or are they even going to mention this? It'd be nice if they went to tape on SmackDown and broke this whole thing down, but I highly doubt it. I sincerely thought that when she tied Lacey's arm to the top turnbuckle, I thought for just a smidget that Lacey was going to get her hands free or her hand free and clock her for the win for that second there. The salute at the top rope was very corny and unnecessary. Now here's what I don't get. I don't understand when Sasha comes in the ring with the belt, Bayley is looking at her hesitantly. She shouldn't be looking at her hesitantly. She should be the one looking at her with happiness. When she's looking at her hesitantly, it almost makes it seem as, well, then again, when she got pinned and she didn't rush to get up, Sasha wouldn't have seen that because she was knocked out. So it's not why. Just an observation. I don't want to go too deep with it because it's probably not going to mean anything once they continue on with the storyline. I doubt it. I just don't trust them. So. It would be crazy that they're doing the promo for the next year's WrestleMania. It would be fucking wild if, like, there's a zombie apocalypse. Oh, shit. We're, like, pinned into our apartments again in homes, watching zombies run up and down the street, and Vince is trying to put together a zombie WrestleMania. We can control them. We can control them and keep them on the ring. Keep them on the chain. Keep them on the chain. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt versus John Cena versus The Fiend. I'm not going to front. When they went to the Firefly Funhouse and he started talking, I was straight up, I was like, oh man, this is gonna dud. And then he rocked us with this one. All right, so I'm gonna do more of a breakdown. Just want to re-observe this. This is like my third time checking this out. But what I want to say is, before I dive deep, is, for starters, I've been commenting on this too on different platforms. Take my hat off first to John Cena for allowing us to play along with this story arc. And I do believe that without him saying that he wanted to do this, it doesn't get past the Puppet Master, in my opinion. But hats off for him for agreeing to do this. Then, of course, hats off to Bray for, conceptually, I would like to believe, I do believe, I forgot the name of the writer, the creator, the dude that used to be on WCW, TNA. He helped structure and write this. But the fact that they, or Bray, conceptually constructed something that would allow Cena to act and play different characters, although they are different characters that represent him. Creative and a great way to, thus entice him to maybe want to do this. If I could be completely wrong, they might just be boys and was like, yeah, let's do it, whatever. And I'm wondering how long this was in the making. Also, props to Bray again, because after his loss to Goldberg, I remember people were doing the Debbie Downer, and he sent a tweet stating that everything is going according to my plan. Just hold on, watch how this all plays out, basically. And Grand Slam, he pulled this ish off, man. He pulled it off. So I also want to add how they conceptualized and created this film, right? / match was creative genius, because I referenced in another video about, the Sonya Mandy piece, the budget that they did not give them throughout their storyline, but they allowed Miz and Morrison to do mini movies and music videos and whatnot. And he took the budget and kept it all in-house, where the majority of this story takes place in the ring and seems like takes place in front of a green screen with some added effects. Took the budget, rocked it, said, you know what? Give me $2,000. Watch me do this. And I'm just throwing that number out there, And with did it more creatively than what Taker and AJ did on a smaller scale. So there's a difference between big production film, independent film. This was an independent film that blew up. Enough said. The one thing I would have changed, I would have had Bray dressed in the same ring attire as Kurt Angle to completely remake the Ruthless Aggression transformation with John Cena. The Saturday night main event where he's pumping the iron, now looking at it, it would have been cool if, this is what I would have done, is I would have had Bray imitate C.T. Fletcher. And C.T.'s a huge wrestling fan. Oh, that would have been sweet. Girl, like John Cena, girl, you a man or a mouse? Girl. girl. It just dawned on me that John Cena's rhyme said, I'll put my joint in a glove and you can call it, you can suck it, bro. Wow. What I just picked up on is that the word life rings, they are designed in the WrestleMania, the early WrestleMania font. So my question is, when Bray was asking him to fix it, and you go back to 6 years ago, did Vince put that in the care of Cena and said, it's up to you to make that decision? If you hit him, you could flip, become a heel, he'll become a face. Like, how did that whole thing play out back then? You know, as far as the choice that was made, we know how it played out, but I mean, as far as the idea of him flipping sides. Anyone? So now with the concept of killing off the John Cena character, does this mean that from any point onward when we see John Cena, I guess in the future, I don't know if he's going to appear on SmackDown or, you know, Bray's going to have a Cena puppet. If John Cena is going to have a different appearance, you know, he's going to dress more mature now, no more Allen Iverson-esque gear, you know, it would make sense to me. Jimmy J.J. Walker over here. I don't know what I just saw. I also thought that The Fiend was going to be behind Titus. But I do believe that with Titus saying that in closing was created purposely to have that moment filled in by speechlessness and for it to go viral. That's just my opinion on it because it worked. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. I wonder if this plays out differently as far as the storytelling of the match. If there's a crowd. Glad that, once again, I was glad that he won at Mania. He busted his ass. I'm glad that he won here. I'm glad of the fact that Brock put him over and wanted to put him over. And I know this because an interview that McIntyre had, and he was mentioning Brock and sitting down and talking with him and talking about his great business mind that Brock had. And the fact that earlier, you know, weeks ago, when Brock beat him up on Raw, that Brock was yelling to him, you know, hold the belt, you know, showing him, like, walking him through, you know, that you know, unawareness of him not grabbing the belt and putting it in the air and just, you know, I'm sure they were talking in the back. But the fact that he laid out that one still shot, was a few of them when Brock is laid out. The fact that Brock took the L and laid out that long was fucking awesome. That was completely passing the torch. This is going to be a great photo op. It's going to look good with the spotlight on him. Once again, another guy passing the torch. But Brock, from what I've heard the past few weeks, had no issues passing torches over, more so than Cena had, I guess. You know, or making sure that people got paid proper money for matches. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I could say about this match. Overall, this WrestleMania, in my mind, was not a failure at all. They had some okay matches, and they had some really good matches. They had more really good matches than they had just okay matches in my book. They put on a really good show, as far as I'm concerned. I'll leave it at that. Sorry for my ramblings. I hope you enjoyed it. Rock on. Let's see what's going to happen after this week. What's the sabbatical? What's the situation? What's going down with SmackDown? Later. The one thing I want to add, is that for sure, Drew McIntyre's win, his victory, is definitely a WrestleMania that no one will ever forget. A lot of these victories are victories that no one will ever forget, but he's the main event. You know what I'm saying? You will never ever forget this WrestleMania. It's this, I can tell you that, when you think about it, like, this is what makes this event different than the previous years. And now next year you're going to follow it up with a zombie attack in Hollywood. It's going to be sick. Sick. The Rock on a motorcycle. Undertaker on a motorcycle. Austin on a motorcycle. All right, I'm out. Thanks. Woohoo! Hoo-hoo-hoo. See you next year. Next year's WrestleMania 37. King.